Hi, Ranger Sorella here at Red Top Mountain State Park. Welcome to our Back to Roots hike for Earth Day 2020. In this video, rangers will show us some different native and invasive plants here in Georgia.
Hi, I'm Ranger Amber.
Hi, I'm Ranger Carrie.
We have found some wild blueberries. They are beginning to get their little new leaves. They don't have any berries or flowers on them yet. But if you notice, there are several of them. They're very small, short. And they only come about to a little above your ankle. So you can see them whenever you're out and about. We also have another native, because these are natives. We have another native over here with tiny little shiny leaves. They're so adorable. This is part of a muscadine vine. This will eventually vine up and climb a tree, producing yummy, delicious muscadine.
So here we have a mimosa tree. These are invasive. They make beautiful flowers with a big bloom. They also make those bean pods, which is what we can see right now. And over here, this tree with the pretty flowers on it, they're sort of a purpley pink shade, that is a red bud, and the red buds are native. Our mimosa and our red bud sometimes are confused for each other because they do look similar, especially their bark, because they're both in the Fabaceae family. Just above me, I have a lot of yellow jessamine vine, which is a native plant. It often gets confused for honeysuckle, but jessamine is dangerous for humans to eat.
This is privet. It is an invasive shrub here in Georgia. It makes white flowers that many people enjoy the smell of.
Hi, here we have a pine tree. You can see right here we have the little pollen areas. It's kind of like a pine tree flower. And we have the leaves, we call them needles. Now on this tree, they're not much longer than my hand. Can you see the length there? Just a little bit longer than my hand. So this is probably a slash, loblolly, or pitch pine. If the leaves were really short, like just the length of one finger, then it would be a shortleaf pine. And if those individual needles were so long, they went from my elbow to my fingertips, then that would be a longleaf pine. Hi, here we have a chestnut tree. This particular chestnut tree appears to be a blend or crossbreed between a Chinese chestnut and an American chestnut. These were very important to our native ecosystem before a blight came through and got most of our American chestnuts sick or even killed them off. But we wanted to show some of the parts of our chestnut. These are the burrs. They're the very, very sharp spiky bits that hold the seeds or nuts. And on the inside, they are soft like velvet, but the outside is sharp like a fistful of needles. Here's another burr, so you can see some of the size comparison. And inside our burrs, you would find the chestnut seeds. These are our chestnuts. Ours normally have a very furry tuft on top, and usually the outside of the seed has a very soft coating of fur on it as well. These we have used for several presentations, so they're not as furry as they once were. You can see the bottom where it connects to that burr. You can also see what the seeds look like when they don't get fertilized, and so they don't turn into seeds that could regrow into new trees or be eaten. These are no good for eating. Now some people also confuse chestnuts with something we call horse chestnuts or buckeyes. Here at Red Top Mountain we have red buckeyes, and their seeds or nuts are a little bit different. They're much smoother finish to the shell, but they also have all these little crenellations and knobbles in them. And the bottom is smaller and looks more like an eyeball. See how it's got that middle center like the iris of our eye, the pupil, and then the color around it like the iris? And these would fit together inside their outer shell, which is definitely not spiky at all. It's a little bit knobbly. And the inside is not soft like velvet. It's pretty much the same as the outside. But our nuts would fit right in there. And then when they're ripe, it pops open and they would fall out. Horse chestnuts, or buckeyes, are poisonous or toxic to humans. Whereas the chestnuts from a true chestnut tree, like a Chinese chestnut or American chestnut, are edible by humans. Now right now our chestnut tree does not have a lot of catkins going on, but you can see some of the bark, and if you look up high, you can see some of our little leaves. They're a nice almond shape, and they do have some toothing on their edges of the leaves, but right now they're still pretty small, so we'll have to come back later in the summer to see how our chestnut is doing. Another native we have here in Georgia are lichens, and there are a lot of type of lichens. Lichens are a combination creature made up of a fungus and an algae. So as many combinations as you can make between all the types of fungus and all the types of algae is how many different lichens there are. So all over this tree we can see lichens, and some are a more yellowy green color, and some are more of a seafoam kind of bluish shade. And they are all over this tree, and these are probably many different types of lichens. I don't know all their names. I did find some on the ground to give you a close-up view. You can see it has different colors. If we flip it over, you can see where it was attached to the bark. You can also see some pollen in there because it's pollen season. We also have another, which is one of my favorite lichens, and this is called Usnea, or bearded lichen. You can see it does look a lot like a beard. Can you imagine a little elf or gnome with lichen beard? And you can see the little plates on there, which is another characteristic of our bearded lichens.
This tree is neither a tulip or a poplar. It is in the magnolia family. Right here we have the blooms from last year.
Here we have a white oak tree. You can see the leaves have rounded lobes, and I like to remember that a white oak has rounded lobes because marshmallows are white and rounded. You can also see the gorgeous flaky bark. It's another good indicator that the tree you're looking at is a white oak. It gets really tall. And of course, all oaks have acorns, just like the one right there. Here we have a maple. It's hard to tell right now, but I think it might be a mountain maple. We can see some of the new growth. Down here in the south, we don't get a lot of sugar maples. Sugar maples like it a little bit colder than the temperatures we get, and sugar maples are the ones that you usually get maple syrup from. If you look down on the ground, you will see some gorgeous leaves getting nice and big and green. This tree is ready to grow a lot. Here we have our native yucca plants. Historically, they've been used to make shoes and been put outside of cemeteries.